Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and today we're going to review the Corsair HS80 Wireless Gaming Headset. This is a $150 MSRP headset. Occasionally goes on sale, including while I'm filming this, so keep your eye out on the price. I'm excited to talk about this one, so I'm going to have a link in the description. It's just a generic Amazon affiliate link, nothing special with Corsair. I purchased this. This was not sent to me for review. I just went into a Best Buy and bought it. Regardless if we buy them or not, it does not change the way we review products. So anyway, with that being said, let's get into it. Now, what you get in the box is fairly straightforward. You get the little quick start guides, manuals, etc. There's a Dolby Atmos card. However, this does not require a pin to enter in. The reason why I like that is because a lot of the times when headsets come with cards with a scratch code, it's usually good for 2 years. With the newer Corsair stuff and a couple other headsets out there, it's for the lifetime of the product. So as long as that product is connected to your computer, you'll have Dolby Atmos. There's no expiration date. So I love that. And you don't have to deal with entering codes. You just plug it in and go. That helps a lot if you have more than one computer and you don't want to mess with it. You also get a very long, high-quality braided USB-C cable. So the headset is USB-C. I do want to point out the USB-C charge port is slightly recessed. So let's get that into focus there. So it's not bad. It makes a really solid connection. I assume that's why they did it, because once you get it in there, it's like locked in. But if you ever have to replace this cable, if you have like a fat USB cable, just keep in mind you want to get one that doesn't have a huge plug, something fairly normal, and you'll be good to go if you ever have to replace it. You get the wireless transmitter, which I have connected to the PC right now. I'll show you a close-up of that. And then, of course, the amazing HS80. Now, I bought the new color wash in white, which I think just came out a week or two ago. I like it in white. I have a white laptop. I have an Asus ROG laptop, so I've been trying to find like the right headset to go with it. I've been purchasing a few white headsets lately to try them out. And this is an exciting one for me because it addresses some of the issues I had with more expensive Corsair headsets while not sacrificing the build quality, because the thing is rock solid. And then to me, it actually sounds better than some of the more expensive ones out there, especially when you compare it to some of the competition. Now, as far as build quality goes, Corsair, in my opinion, is about as good as it gets for build quality. Others can be good, at least initially and for long term, but the Corsair headsets seem to just be the most durable from a lot of the ones I've tried. They're built like tanks, and this one's no exception. There's no noise. The headset twists and headband twists and everything. It's not like some of the other ones out there where you can really bend it, but this still feels really solid when I do it. Again, no noise, and my microphone is just right above it. So if this is making noise, it will definitely pick that up. This design is cool. So Steel Series kind of made this ski band goggle style headband pretty popular with the gaming headsets. A lot of people like it for the comfort because it fits nicely around your head. There's been some issues with long-term reliability with those Steel Series products as far as like the yoke mounting system. This is incredibly solid. It's like a much more durable version of that. It actually has a metal yoke system instead of plastic. And this strap system's kind of innovative. So one, the strap is a little bit more stiff than the Steel Series version, which are softer and really compress all the way up to the head quite easily. This has a little bit more resistance to it. However, it's very easy to adjust. All you have to do is pull this little plastic tab out, which kind of locks it in. So you just pop this guy out, and then I can adjust the stiffness. And once I get it dialed in just right, push it back in, and I'm good to go, and it fits my head. Comfort-wise, this headband is great. It's again, like I said, slightly stiffer than Steel Series. I never had to adjust Steel Series because they're so soft, you just put them on. This one I loosened just slightly to get the perfect fitment. Now, as far as the other build quality things I've noticed, the buttons are crazy good. The volume wheel feels real solid. It's got just the right click and resistance to it. It's tactile. The power button is just a press button on it. There's no slider switch anywhere. Even the mic lever mechanism. It's not detachable, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it is a flip-to mic, which I am a huge fan of, and the status goes red. And then the RGB logo, of course, which this does a pretty good job. I think the red goes slightly pink, but if you go towards the orange side, it's perfect. I like that it's RGB and you can turn that off. If you are using RGB on PlayStation, there's no way to turn it off. iCue is what controls the RGB. So if iCue is not running on your computer or on the PlayStation, of course, it will default to white. So I just want to point that out. Now I mentioned that you can obviously replace the USB cable because it's just USB-C. Technically, you can replace the pads. They are removable, and I'll show you the back. It uses a special mounting mechanism, obviously because of this whole twist to pop off, which I really like. It feels solid, much easier than stretching little elastics around the mount. As of April 2022, there is no replacement pad you can buy online yet. It may change after this review, but I know they asked owners if they wanted to see different materials and what kind, and there's some great feedback that they got from that. So hopefully we see something, but as of right now, just take care of these. They should hold up pretty well just based off my initial impressions and how they felt so far, but down the road, maybe. As far as compatibility goes, like I said, it works on PC and it works on PlayStation. Just use the included USB wireless transmitter. You can use the USB-C cable to plug it in and have a data connection that way, and it actually will work without the wireless transmitter. Corsair claims that it'll do double the sample rate, so both of them are 24-bit, but on the USB-C cable, it'll be 96,000 hertz. I didn't really notice a big sound quality difference, so don't feel like you have to use that to improve your sound. It also didn't affect latency. They're within a few milliseconds of each other as far as latency goes, so you're not really saving much by doing that. I like that it's there because if you ever lose the transmitter or your batteries die, to me that's a good fallback. Otherwise, just stick with the wireless because the sound quality is excellent, and so is the wireless performance as far as latency goes, and there's no audio dropouts either. Now, I mentioned the build quality. There's also a fit and finish part of this, and I think when you touch a product like this, having everything feel nice and high quality is a huge win in my book, and I think that's where the HS80 just crushes this price range. It's not just the other parts like the performance, sound quality, comfort, etc., but it is a premium looking and feeling product. I mean, look at that headband. It's just so clean, and even the padding inside, you have this like leatherette pad underneath. It's a good mix of materials. There's metal, there's rubberized coating, there's the hard plastic, which is going to be good for durability because it shouldn't show fingerprints. This is also easier to clean where you're touching it the most, having it a hard plastic. The mic boom is just awesome. I think the mic looks nice. Again, it's not just is it durable, but it actually feels good to the touch and feels like you're holding a premium product. Now, overall, I really like the comfort of the headset because the headband, once I broke it in again, like I said, that was great. It fit on my head really well. Because it's a ski band style headband, it conforms to a lot of different head shapes and sizes. You don't really have to mess with this too much, including being good with a hat. And this design also usually lends to pretty good clamp force without being over the top. So I found that it was just tight enough. This weighs about 350 grams, so it's a little bit heavier than some other headsets in this price range, but I think part of that is because they're just using premium materials. So the ear pads, this is the only part where it's not a full win, but I like a lot of things about it. So the ear shape, by the way, is perfect. It fits my ear incredibly well. It's just the right size for my head, ear shape, whatever it may be. Not everyone's built the same, so you always have to factor that in. But this is a pretty forgiving ear cup design. It's a natural ergonomic shape, which I like. And because you have a decent clamp force, especially over the Virtuoso XTs, which don't have as strong of a clamp, these have a really good seal around my ear. Now, even though this is using a fabric material, which has pros and cons, I still got a better seal with this than my Virtuosos. That helps with sound quality and consistency, but what's cool about this material is in theory it should breathe more. Now, it does breathe better. I still found I got a little bit warm, but it was never like a sweaty, I had to constantly pull them off type of discomfort. They just get a little bit toastier than the athletic weaves that you see on Steel Series Arctis or the Astro's velour material. It's comparable to that. I think Steel Series runs a little bit cooler. But this is still incredibly comfortable. It makes some noise, but I didn't find it too scratchy or any problems, when I had them on and I was adjusting them. Now, they use memory foam padding. It's a little bit stiffer, and to me, the memory is a little resistant. So when you push on this, it's soft. It has a lot of give, but it's not as soft as some other competitors in this price range. I think overall it's pretty good, and this is the only thing I would nitpick is if you wear glasses, the clamp force combined with this particular pad material can put a little bit of pressure if you have larger frames. So if you're looking for softer, I feel that there's a couple others out there that'll be a little bit more forgiving. So I just want to point that out just in case that's an issue for you. Either way, for me, I don't wear them often. It's only when I'm wearing Gunnars for blue light, and my thinner frames felt comfortable enough where if I'm playing for a couple hours, I'm fine. So your mileage may vary, but for me, this wasn't top of the class as far as glasses comfort goes.
All right, here's where it gets good. The mic is ridiculous. I would venture to say this has to be the best sub $150 microphone you can buy. The only one that's close is the Xbox edition of the Stealth 700 Gen 2. Other than that, I haven't found anything that touches this. So, curious what you all think. I'm not going to spend too much time just talking about how great it is because honestly, I think it's phenomenal. The only drawback to a microphone that's this good is it's an omnidirectional mic, which means it picks up everything around it. And that's part of why you have such a natural, clear sound. The downside to that is if you have a very noisy environment, loud fans, keyboard typing, etc., omnidirectionals can pick some of that up. Now, if you're concerned with that for a live stream, just use OBS's noise gate function. If you have an NVIDIA graphics card, use NVIDIA Broadcast and take advantage of your RTX card to have, AI-assisted noise reduction and filtering. If you do all that, then you get the benefits of both worlds. I typically game in a more quiet environment, so to me, I would prefer to use a microphone like this over everything. Your buddies will hear you crystal clear, your stream, etc. I think it's an incredibly high quality mic, probably the best it gets, at least from everything I've tested.
All right, so that wraps up the mic test. I'm curious what you all think. I know some early on releases, I think some people had mic issues, but I just went in the store and bought mine last week. So good to go there. No sound issues whatsoever, and you heard it firsthand. All right, now it's time to talk about sound quality, which is my favorite part of the review. So thank you for making it this far. I was hoping for the best because I've been on a hunt to try to find, when someone asks me what's the best headset at this price that's wireless, I always want to just have an answer. And it's been really hard in this price range because there's a lot of headsets that do different things better. There isn't one that's perfect to me. And if there is, what's perfect to me may not be perfect to you. Now, I also purchased other headsets to compare in this price range because I wanted to see how it stacks up. I got the Blackshark V2 Pro, the Steel Series Arctis 7X. I have a ton. And I even started listening to the older ones again, like the Astro A20 Gen 2s, the Clouds, etc. So I was hoping for it to be perfect. It wasn't there, but it was actually a pretty good starting point, believe it or not. Because the Blacksharks I just showed you, their strength is the bass. They have insane bass, and then it kind of gets a little weird as you get up top. And then the Steel Series, the low bass isn't there. The mids are decent, but then the highs are incredibly sharp, and it hurts. The HS80, to me, is the most neutral sound profile out of the box. By default, the low bass rolls off, and the highs roll off. So it's more of an N shape than a V shape sound profile. So what that means is, when you get below 70, 80 hertz, it starts to roll off. And when you're closer to 40 or 30 hertz, it really starts to drop. On the highs, once you pass, let's say 1800 to 2000 hertz, it drops again. And what that means is if you're expecting this really punchy dynamic sound, thunderous bass, nice sharp highs, it's not going to give it to you out of the box like that. The iCue software doesn't do a good job tuning it, which again, they gave you Atmos. Don't use the iCue software for EQ. That's just a backup, I guess. Use Dolby Atmos on PC. It makes a world of a difference. In my opinion, if you want a perfect sound profile, I'll give you a tuning map on a second. I'll put it on the screen to help you dial it in. And then I'm curious if you get this and you dial it in, what you think of it. But the cheat is whether you're doing game, movie, or music, switch it to the detailed profile on Atmos. It makes a big difference. Now I'm going to show you my custom EQ. To me, this fixes the shortcomings on the low bass and it addresses the highs. It really opens it up and you get a lot of good detail without messing around with how good the mid-range already is. I'm going to kind of explain it two different ways because I want to describe it out of the box and we'll get into the tune profile. So again, I mentioned the low bass kind of falls off. It's still very clear bass. It emphasizes the 200 hertz range more. So if you're concerned with like footsteps in Call of Duty, it actually does a pretty good job there. So the bass, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I think it needs more on the low end and a little bit less in the mid-range because I don't want my mids to sound muddy in any way. The mids are excellent out of the box because that is its strong suit. It's actually a relatively flat mid profile. And what I found with these is they work on games, movies, and music. And the big litmus test for a gaming headset to handle music is listening to rock. Some headphones, as soon as you put a rock song on, like Tool or Korn or something crazy, they fall apart. They sound shrieky or have shrill sounds up high, and it hurts your ears. The bass is all over the place. The guitars get lost because the ringing of the strings of the guitar is just not there. These do a phenomenal job in the mid-range, and when they're tuned the way I showed it to you, it's pretty incredible at this price point. I actually prefer these over the Virtuoso sound quality, even when they're both tuned. To me, this just has, because the way the ear cup design is, it gets a much more consistent sound delivery, and you get to reap the benefits from that. Now, out of the box, again, the highs are recessed, so if you're looking for that tingly sound, that, the sharp cymbals, or, when you pop the mag out of the gun, you want to hear that click sound. These are more of a dull recessed sound. I don't want to say veiled because I don't want to make it sound like they have no detail at all. They're actually not bad on the detail side. They just could use to be a little bit brighter. And I find that the Atmos profile on detailed or the tune fixes that issue. These respond better to sound tuning than a lot of other headphones. Some you can only fix so much. They still have these inherent flaws. These can be worked to be a incredible class-leading sound at 150. So I just want to say that out of the box, these weren't my favorite at 150, but once tuned, they became my favorite. And I think that stands to make a point of how good these are. Now, if you're using this on PlayStation 5, you obviously lose access to the Dolby Atmos app, unfortunately. Now, I find that the Tempest 3D audio sound has a slightly warmer sound to it. It actually has a little bit more bass, and on a lot of games, they're typically a brighter sounding game. So you don't notice it as much on PlayStation when you're playing games as you would on PC when you're using it for mixed content consumption, such as watching stuff on YouTube or listening to music, etc. So it wasn't as big of a deal breaker on it. And I think because you have different profiles in certain games too, that can help offset. So overall, it was excellent. I still prefer this over the other two I mentioned. The Steel Series, I just can't get the treble to be the way I want. And on the Razers, I still miss a little bit of the clarity in the upper treble. They're not as sharp, but it's kind of hard to fix it to make it so you feel like you're hearing everything. The last thing I'll say is the soundstage. This is always a big one to me. Nothing's going to beat a higher-end open-back headphone when it comes to soundstage. Basically, an open-back means that the speakers breathe. Sound can come out of the outside. These are a pretty good soundstage. I think their positional accuracy is excellent. It can make you very competitive if you're concerned with that. I think this is a great presentation of detail. It's not as open or far of a soundstage as what you can get if you got just a wired open back in this price range. So if you're concerned with making it so something's here and something's here, but if something is way out there, it's a little bit harder to differentiate the distance with something like this compared to an open back. That's not to really fault these. I'm just trying to be as honest as I can. It's just inherent to way closed back headphones sound. Overall, again, once tuned, I think it has incredible detail, and the sound quality is honestly phenomenal. And it actually has a very consistent sound quality because these make a really good seal. All right, now it's time to show you what the iCue software looks like and what you can do to customize this, and then we'll pick up with some final thoughts. All right, so we're using iCue version 4.22.203, so obviously things can change, but let's get into it. So on the home screen here, you see different lighting scenes. This is going to basically allow you to sync all of your Corsair iCue supported products with each other if they have RGB, which is kind of nifty. But here we're going to modify the headset settings, so we'll click on it. Now in the light settings here, you can see that I have different light profiles. You can do gradients, you can use links, pulse, color shifts, fades, etc. You can actually change the color to the exact color scheme that you want. And this is one way to adjust brightness. Another way to adjust brightness is to go to device settings. You can see a firmware update here, but you can adjust this slider here, and that will change how bright or dark your RGB light is on the side. You can also see your battery life here. You can change the auto shutoff time. You could show the battery gauge in the corner, enable or disable voice prompts. If this is on, every time you mute and unmute, a voice prompt will tell you that. You can disable the mic light when it's active. So when the mic is in front of your face, it'll have a white light. If that becomes annoying to you, you can simply turn that off. I can also confirm that you can update this headset wirelessly. I did that and it worked without any issues. Now going into the equalizer settings, this is only like this because I have Atmos disabled at the moment, just so I can show you the software. If you press in on the volume wheel on your headset, you can toggle through the presets that you have defined. You'll get no prompts or confirmation that you're switching, but it will cycle through. iCue has to be open, of course, for this to work. The bass changes and the frequency changes are not exactly what you'd expect. So here, for example, if you click on bass boost, it looks like it's only about 4 decibels, and this one's maybe 6 decibels at 64 hertz. However, if we look at the charts from these measurements, you can see a massive swing in the bass profile. Even if you look at something like, let's just pick 100 hertz, that's at 92 decibels, and I go up here, it's 108 decibels, a 16 decibel increase, where the software is suggesting that maybe 4, maybe 5 decibels in this window here. This is extremely aggressive, and when you do this, it actually also reduces the volume of your other frequencies. It has a lot of compression. I think it does that to eliminate distortion, but whatever it does, it actually makes it sound significantly worse. So I do not recommend using this. You can mess around with different ones if you're really in a dire situation and you can't use Atmos for some reason, but I actually don't recommend boosting the bass or boosting frequencies. Instead, lower the frequencies of the ones you do not want to boost to kind of have an inverse way of doing it, and that will make a big difference. The other thing you can do on this screen is adjust the microphone volume and side tone. If the mic is muted, you will see this grayed out. If I flip the microphone down, it enables, and then I can click this icon to enable or disable my side tone, which allows me to hear myself speak. So I'm going to enable Dolby Atmos now. You'll see this EQ bar go away, and I want to show you what this tune does for the sound. Okay, so I have the flat EQ profile setting from the iCue software versus my Dolby Atmos custom tune that I did to change the sound profile myself. The thicker line now that's highlighted in yellow is how it comes out of the box, and as you can see, once you get below 200 hertz, the bass rolls off significantly, and then you can see a dip in the upper frequencies as well. Moving over to the custom tune, you can see that the roll-off is pretty much gone. In fact, it actually picks back up in the lower frequencies, which is typically what I like on gaming headsets as long as it's not too extreme. This is all within a few decibels of each other, so it's still relatively flat. And then I opened up the highs just a little bit. It's not a significant change, but it is enough to increase the presence and detail a little bit up top without making it too harsh or sibilant sounding. And again, if you want to see what tune I use to get to that kind of frequency response, this is what it looks like. All right, at the end of the day, it's time to decide if this is the right headset for you. Now, when I have friends and family ask me for a sub $150 wireless headset, what I recommend, the HS80 is probably going to be my top choice now, because not only is it comfortable and well made, but I mean, the sound quality is great once tuned. The mic is just absolutely ridiculous. But those are all great, but at the end of the day, when you use a headset every day, you always want it to work. You want to turn it on and not have wireless dropout issues. You want your mic to always work. You just want a solid, hassle-free experience. That's what it should be about, because this shouldn't be a distraction. You should just be part of the experience, an immersion of what you're playing. And that's where Corsair has always crushed it for me, is the reliability. The wireless transmitters are seriously top-notch. The range is insane. It's not just a cordless or wireless headset. It is a 50-foot plus wireless range headset. So you are free to roam about the cabin while you're using these things. It's just that good. So as long as you don't need a headset that also works for Xbox, the HS80 has to be a top choice at this price. It's just so versatile, comfortable, sounds great, all that good stuff. Battery life is good. I didn't mention this earlier. It's rated for 20 hours. I was hitting 20, no problem. So if you're concerned with that, the RGB lighting system is so insignificant on this. It's a single LED on both sides that I really don't think it makes a big difference. I couldn't replicate any specific drain issue, lights on or off. It was minimal. So just use it how you want. And the USB-C charges so fast that a 15-minute charge will easily get you through an entire night of gaming. So, or you can just fall back to the USB-C connection to your PC and play as it charges, and you can listen to it and all that good stuff. So anyway, with that being said, I absolutely love this headset. If you found this helpful, great. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate any support. Like I said before, I'll have a link in the description below if you think this is the right one for you to help you purchase it. And with that being said, I'll see you next time. Bye.